What up, everyone? Welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. We hope you're having a great day wherever you are. It's the end of April, getting to the end of April. So, April showers bring May flowers. If it's showering where you are, if it's sunny, we hope you're having a great day. We just want to extend that branch of positivity. This time before the summer, you're anxious for the warmer weather. You're ready to go out into the sun and get warm. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but
I'm sorry, I'm very distracted. There's a goddamn bird outside my window just chirping his head off. It
we're
keeps
all over the
distracting me.
place in this episode today. So bear with us. But you know what also is all over the place? The damn Oscars, okay? Because every year they somehow they somehow get things right, but somehow get things wrong as well. And
Don't
we're
forget
going to
that
talk
La La
about
Land fumble.
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah,
Moonlight.
the Moonlight, La La Land. Hopefully, we won't have a fiasco this year, but hopefully, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Entertainment. I love reality television, so anytime a faux pas happens, I'm all here for it.
Does
Anyways,
anyone
how
know
are you
who's
both
topless
doing
now?
today?
I'm warm because it is now 80 degrees in Seattle nearing the end of April, which since when does that happen? Um, but other than that, I'm good. Cheddar's good. Hanging out in the background for the people who are watching this visually. What about you,
Oh,
Jerome, other than being a bit sleepy?
oh my goodness. I'm all right. I look like a music man right now. My two guitars back here, freaking synthesizer right here. Like it's just all these instruments. Um, but I'm doing good. I got the second dose of my COVID vaccine today, so one step closer to being fully vaccinated. So that's good. And then, other than that, I'm just chilling. Getting ready to do more work. By the way, y'all, you talking about visual stuff. If you want to see what we do behind the scenes, we're gonna start posting some more vlog stuff and stuff like that on the YouTube channel. So subscribe to the YouTube channel to find out a lot more content that you can't get on the audio version of our podcast. You can't get it on Spotify, you can't get it on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and all the other places. You can only get it subscribing to YouTube. So do that at First Ones to Die, or the First Ones to Die. I'm sorry. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see some cool stuff.
Agreed.
And
Also,
Jonathan, how you doing in Cali, real quick? See
I
how you're
am
doing.
Thank you for asking. I am doing well. Yeah, I just moved to LA last week, so it's been very hectic. But I think I've somewhat started to settle down a little bit. I gave a word of advice right before we went live to Jerome and Alex, saying do not buy a furniture from Home Depot because their experience is not the best. Still waiting on my bed frame, but here we are. You can't complain. First world problems, but whatever.
They're
I
holding it
still have a
hostage
roof
until you
over my
release this
head.
episode.
What was that?
They're holding it hostage until you come back to the podcast. That's what it was.
Yes, thank you
Yeah, Home
again
Depot.
to our friend Rob, who was willing to jump in at literally the day of. We asked him because
Yeah.
yeah,
Shout
so that
out
was
to
very nice of him.
Rob.
I told you
Yes.
Jonathan wasn't dead, even though I know for some of the listeners you might say Jonathan was on the last episode. Well, we had some stuff,
We
some magic
pre-record
going
things,
on.
people. All
Yeah,
right.
so
We
Why do you guys need
pre-record.
to break the magic? And only Rob kept saying R.E.P. Jonathan.
I want people to let people know that wasn't Jonathan's last podcast. That he had a tragic accident. That's why he did. He's no
Clearly,
longer going to
he's
be with
right. He's
us.
present.
He's here now. So
Or am
for
I?
those who were
Is this
concerned,
Jonathan?
Look,
Jonathan is
Jerome
okay.
and
At
me are
least
pretty good at editing, and like you can be too, Jonathan. But I doubt we're at that level where we can create like the holographic fake face going on, bringing you back from the dead style thing that you
I don't
see. We're
know.
not at that
I
level.
am
We
in a
don't
new
have that type of
location.
equipment.
I am in a new location.
I mean, not to
And
them. You're just like you have another white wall. Like that's the same thing.
Well, no, he's got a pillow behind him. or
Yeah,
the
Look at
couch.
this.
the setting has changed a little bit, I guess. So I guess that's true.
Well, back to the actual topic at hand, the Oscars.
The Oscars. The Oscars are this upcoming Sunday, and a lot of people.
I don't know what the Oscars
Is
theme
that the
is.
That
It's
Oscar
was,
probably
I
thing?
something
don't
similar
think
to
it
that.
was
That's kind of like
anything
Entertainment
ever.
Tonight. Like, is that the Entertainment Tonight jingle? I
That
could have
might have
sworn I
been
heard that on
Entertainment
Entertainment
That
Tonight.
Tonight.
so the Oscars are on April 23rd. I don't know
The
what's going on.
Oscars are on April
April 20th.
23rd.
They're on April 23rd? That should be
April
25th.
25th. April
I'm about to
25th.
say, like, April 23rd is Mortal
They're
Kombat.
live
I
on
remember
Sunday.
that date.
Well, we've talked about a lot of dates. They're live on Sunday, April 25th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time on ABC or their app, or um, seems to be like a multitude of like subscribing streaming services you can look. So try
Yeah.
to catch that.
I always, growing up, I've watched the Oscars. I feel like every year. No, actually, that's a lie. I didn't really watch them growing up too much, but in maybe the past like 7, 8 years, I've been watching them religiously. Even if I don't watch all the movies, because it's a lot of movies to watch, and sometimes most of the movies, or sometimes some of the movies, I have no interest in watching. Um, but it's often a fun time, trying to get in all that Oscar binging before the actual ceremony.
I think I only have 1 year I actually knew what was going on with the Oscars. I think it was the year Moonlight got nominated. I had watched most of those movies, so I could actually form an opinion of like, okay, this movie should win. And it hasn't been that way since. But I've never watched the Oscars. I always just wait till the next day to see the highlights on YouTube or like read who won and who didn't win, that sort of thing.
I like watching the pre-shows. I do like seeing the different gowns
And the
and
red
things.
carpets and
Yeah,
stuff.
and I do know they have a lot of like restrictions of it. It doesn't matter if like I learned like I watched some video about a lot about the events of the Oscars, and there's a lot of like restrictions and rules. Like whoever the host is, like the guests can't eat. You can't be caught on camera eating at all. So there's no like hors d'oeuvres or drinking or anything like that inside the hall. So some hosts will go ahead and create like little box lunches. Ellen DeGeneres, did the famous getting everybody pizza.
I think Tiffany Haddish brought fried chicken one time, like in her purse.
Yes, I
Yeah.
remember
She
that.
passed
I
out
remember
cookies to
that.
everybody when she won an award. I forgot. I
Tiffany
don't think it was
Haddish won an
Oscar.
Oscar?
I don't
No,
think
not
she
an
won an
Oscar.
Oscar.
She won an award
Oh.
though.
Okay.
No,
She won a
I don't think
Grammy.
she won a Grammy. It might have been that.
It's a comedy.
She's
Mhm.
always she's always been super fun to watch on red carpets, because it's also cool to see people who are very excited about the outfits they're wearing, and like because I don't think designers get enough credit sometimes about the gowns they're wearing. They've created specifically to be shown on Oscar night.
Well, they
Some
get plenty of
people,
credit. Just you got to watch the channels where they
right,
talk
but
about
then
that
it's
sort of
like,
thing.
oh, it's really more focused at the beginning of the night. Then when you get into the show, which is understandable, it's more focused on the awards. But like, I mean, I don't have that skill. I can't draw or design, think of new outfits or something.
You know what it is? They need Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers with her Fashion Police show. They used to talk about it all the time.
Mhm.
Joan Rivers was actually
R.I.P.
really, really racist and like kind of awful.
That is true, but still, I'm just saying. To
I
your
mean,
point,
the way she
the only
she
one who
and
seemed to care
like
about like talking about the
I'm
design.
enjoying seeing the outfits, but yeah, no, there's I mean,
You know what I
Anyway.
enjoy? I like seeing I like seeing the newcomers, the people who it's their first Oscars. Maybe they've been in the game for a minute, or maybe they're just new to the game, and it's their first time that they've been recognized, or this is their first time that they're attending the ceremony, or maybe they're up and coming. So maybe they're not nominated this year, but they have the potential to get nominated in a future year. And it's so nice to see them. You can really see their excitement versus the people who, this is like a trip to the grocery store for them. So they've
Like
been here
Leonardo
year after year.
DiCaprio, who it
Yeah,
took him
or
like
Meryl Streep,
yeah, like
all praise to Meryl Streep, but she's probably like, okay, when is this gonna be over? Like, do I
She's
really
like,
have to come to this
well,
every year?
for Meryl
I bet
Streep, it's
she's hiding
different.
fried chicken in her purse. She knows exactly what to pack in a purse.
I feel like she's because her and Leo are on different wavelengths. For Meryl, it's okay. When do I get the Oscar? Versus for Leo, it's just I guess I'm here. I mean, he's gotten an Oscar, but it took him a minute to get one.
That's a good
He
point. That's a
had
good
to
He's
point.
just
eat
like,
like, didn't he eat like actual raw deer or something?
For the
Too, for
Revenant,
that movie? Yeah.
I think I heard
I
something
listen,
believe he
that's what
like
it
gave
about
up.
took
that. Yeah.
to get the Oscar.
I mean, is that anyway?
So we're gonna do some predictions here. Now, granted, mind you, we have not watched all of the movies that have been nominated. So some of these movies,
Or many of them.
yeah,
Or even
many
known
them,
of the
actually.
title of the movie until right now. That's a
So
good chunk of them.
take
So
what we
you
say here a little bit with a grain of salt. We're really, like as I said in the intro, we really are just here to have fun. Do not take our predictions as like, man, they're gonna give us some informed opinions about
Mm-mm.
which actor they believe will win the Oscar. Like most of
There
this is
are
just an
there are other
opinion and
podcasts
conjecture.
and YouTube channels for that.
We
Right.
take
This
it
ain't the one.
seriously.
Listen, we talked about serial killers and stuff in the last podcast that came out. So I feel like this is like a nice like return to form.
Right, right. So let's kick it off. Do we want to go to the big gun, Best Picture?
Of course.
Yeah. Let's start with the biggest one first. Get that out the way.
That's
All right.
one of the big ones everybody cares about.
So, Jonathan, do you want to read it off, or you want me to read it off? I can read it.
Go ahead and read it off, Jerome.
All right.
You had
in the
your
best picture,
your trivia announcer moment. I feel like that voice he should come back.
Okay. In Best Picture, the nominees are The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, which I'm fairly certain that's how it's pronounced.
Yes.
Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So who are you thinking is who first of all, who do you want to win based off of these movies?
So I have seen two. I've seen two of these films. I've seen Judas and the Black Messiah and Promising Young Woman, but I've been wanting to see Minari and Sound of Metal. The Father, I don't really have any interest in seeing only because I heard the plot of it and it sounds depressing as
Dry.
hell. No, it just sounds very depressing. It sounds very good and it sounds like a very good concept, but it sounds very depressing. I heard that it's basically about a man who is his mind is deteriorating because he has dementia, and he travels every time he like wakes up. He's in a different room. I'm not explaining this the best, but that's the basic concept of it. And apparently, it's really sad. I don't really want to see it because it seems like it's heartbreaking, and I have experience of like a family member with dementia, so I don't really have that much interest in watching it. But best of luck to it. It sounds very good. But anyway, back to your question. I would love Judas and the Black Messiah to win, or Promising Young Woman. Both of the movies that I saw, basically, they are in my book contenders to win.
Alex?
I've actually seen three of these films. I saw the Judas and the Black Messiah, Myrna, and the Trial of the Chicago 7.
Wait, did you say Myrna? It's Minari?
Minari.
Okay.
Minari.
I just
Sorry, I
wanted to
like
be
mix.
sure for
I
the
mix
people
Mank and
Minari.
Myrna's a
together.
nice
Minari.
name, though.
I think that is an actual. Anyway, now I forgot how to actually say the name. Say it again.
Minari.
Minari. No, yeah, Minari. That's a good movie. I recommend everybody seeing it. It's about a family a Korean immigrant. Oh my god. A Korean family that immigrates to California, and their life going through all that. It's a very beautiful story. I did enjoy it. Thinking it doesn't deserve Best Picture. I can't really say yes or no to that. I do think there are kind of other better films, but it was still such. They have just great performances. I think it's more the individual factor that would win them an award than the whole overall film.
Mm.
No Man Land. My mom actually did watch that.
I want to see that one as well. I do want to see that one as well.
Apparently, it starts off very good, but then it kind of just drags on. It just keeps kind of going and going, and it's one of and she mentioned that it's kind of like a film that just you kind of I'm sure it has some natural endings and stopping points, but they just kept moving forward past that, and then it kind of feels drawn out. I know it actually took her two times to finish it. So um the Trial of the Chicago Seven, that is it's a good film. um and you can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's about the boys who were accused, and where they've also gone in their lives. Nearing the end, it talks about their past and their futures now. And it's quite nice to see that these men haven't turned into kind of, I won't lie, women haters or anything like that. They're still very supportive, of people who have gone through sexual assault, domestic violence, all that. They're like, yeah, we were wrongfully accused, but you still need to listen to victims. So it's a great and inspirational stories that, like, you can see that, like, they have grown into these wonderful adults as well. I would love for Judas and the Black Messiah to win, because it is such an open story and it has so much history. Many of these movies actually have quite a bit of history, but I feel like for the time we are in now, Judas and the Black Messiah, it shows a big hidden hole in the propaganda that was taught to us. I think that movie should definitely win, because it just, the actors had such a great performance in it. You really, felt with them. You learned about all this propaganda and, like, the truth about so much things. And just, like, that was, like, out of all those movies, that was definitely a movie I would always recommend and even rewatch. So I would definitely want Judas and the Black Messiah to win.
I want. I've only seen one of these movies, which is Juice and the Black Messiah. I do on my list is Minari, Sound of Metal, and Promising Young Woman. Those are like the three that I really want to see, and I've just been pushing off seeing them. But I guess now with the Oscars coming up, now's as good a time as any to like catch up on those and watch those. I think I would like to see Judas take it. I feel like Minari will probably take it. I've just been hearing a lot more buzz from Minari as far as like people congratulating it on like how well the movie does, as compared to Judas has like the people's vote, but I don't know if it has the critics' vote. Which I guess segues into, who do you guys think will win?
If it Side note about Minari, if it does win, that would be the second year in a row that an all Asian cast or majority Asian cast has won for Best Picture. Because last year Parasite won.
Yeah.
Crazy Rich Asian was like nominated too, at least, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think for Best Picture. I think it was nominated for something else though.
I think maybe
it might have been
leading
nominated
actress
for costumes.
That whole
Maybe
movie was
actress.
fantastic.
An actress for Constance Wu.
With the way the history of the Oscars are, I mean, there's a whole hashtag dedicated. I think it'll probably go either to Father, because it is about like a guy with dementia and his kind of point of view through it, and it's just very, very depressing, which they either like to pick the very depressing ones, or I think it'll probably be No Man Land, honestly, because I've seen like bits and pieces of that movie, and all I can think is it's a sad white woman. And
I've
like,
heard
I don't
a lot
like
of buzz about Nomadland.
I don't want to. No, yeah, I'm kind of an a-hole, but that's what it feels like. Cause like I get what she's doing, but it's also she has the ability and the privilege to like escape and just roll around in a van. She leaves all of her responsibilities alone, which is honestly is just irresponsible. and she, just it's basically hashtag van life without the Instagram is what I feel like that movie boils down to, and then they just keep it in black and white to make more sympathy for it. I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't, with all the movies that are being presented right here, even with Sound of Metal, I've actually heard a lot of good things. And music is such a strong and inspirational thing. And having to lose because it is about a drummer who lost his hearing. I'm not sure which drummer. To have to lose that ability when music is such a big part of your life. All these movies have such a deeper meaning, and No Man Land, I don't feel like has a place on this list for Best Picture. It really doesn't deserve it, being compared to like all these other films. And that's kind of why I'm suspicious of it, of why it's on there.
It's probably on there just to fill a slot. Because sometimes they do that. They'll put a movie on there to fill a slot, but really, it never had a chance to win at all. Like, for example, The Martian, I think, was nominated for Best Picture. Nobody thought it was going to win, but it was nominated. Like, up against the like competition it had against it.
True, but that one was visually pretty.
Yeah, but Nomad, like, you can argue that Nomad's Land is like a artistic idea for film. Like, it's pushing, because a lot of those people, I think, I mistake me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan. You've probably heard more buzz about it than I have. But that, like, Nomad's Land, like, some of those people are actually just like people who just live in their vans and live that nomad life. And they were kind of, so the film kind of skirts the line between being both theatrical but also kind of documentarian in that way, which is like very unique and different.
I know virtually nothing. I know virtually nothing about Nomadland other than the producer or the director is getting a lot of buzz. But
I mean, the last movie to do something like that was the movie Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson, where she plays like an alien, and there's a part where she's like riding in cars with men, but they are actually like people, like just normal people on the street. They just picked up, and she's being this freakish, weird.
Well, Borat does that as well. Borat,
I guess, but I always consider Borat to be like it's like a prank movie.
Yeah, like Jackass.
Yeah, like it's supposed to, like, that's the movie. It's like not playing it off like these are fake people. They're making it seem like these are real. No, these are real people. Whatever.
I mean,
that movie is also nominated as well.
Jackass?
No, Borat.
Oh, I was like, wait, they have a new movie? I thought that like life.
No, they're done. They're too old now. They're just like, look, I'm trying to live to see, to and still have not brain damage to remember my name. Like
I saw an episode of Ridiculous with Bam on it recently. Well, not I watched it. Yeah, I watched the episode. I don't know if it was like he was talking. He's like, yeah, for a while, me and the crew hate each other. He's like, because there's one thing I don't like. I don't like snakes, and like they threw me in a hole with a bunch of fake snakes, and then I'm like demanding to get out, and they freaking throw a bunch of live snakes on me, and I'm like, I have like a thing with birds, and if any, like, I'm all for pranks and stuff, but if y'all ever try to lock me in a room full of birds, I'm coming for you both. Right? There is a line, and like I will come for you both.
What to do on Halloween prank time. We're gonna find the first aviary and lock Alex in it. All the birds.
But what Best Picture do you think Jonathan will win?
So I have a strong gut feeling that Judas and the Black Messiah will win.
Really?
It's just it's the buzz factor for me. I've seen billboards for your consideration, Judas and the Black Messiah. I've seen commercials for your consideration, Judas and the Black Messiah. I feel like they have a major marketing campaign behind them. As with Nomadland, I've seen a lot of stuff about Nomadland and Promising Young Woman. Those three, I feel like I've heard maybe the most about, and that they have the most dollars behind them, pushing them the most. But I think Judas and the Black Messiah, I think along with the performances, like both their lead actors were nominated. They've gotten so much play, essentially. I have a feeling that they might win, but you never know. could be wrong. Second place would probably be Nomadland. This has nothing to do with like the movie itself, um, but it's a brilliant movie. As I would be very happy to win, but just because of the like politics of it all, I think
I
it
think
has probably the best chance of winning.
to go with that,
But I'm no Oscar expert, so
piggyback off of you, I think
We would
I
need
would
Indy
say
for
there
that.
is a political aspect to either Minari or Justice or Justice or
Justice
Judas
League,
and the
Justice
Black
League.
Messiah winning. Just because
Um,
for
un- but
because
like unfortunately, you can also make that claim for the promising young woman too.
or Promising Young Woman, I would be happy with that one winning as well. All three, all three of them are very relevant right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, relevant in the sense that it would be a win for that community to have that movie win Best Picture.
But it's interesting because I've seen like before I watched Promising Young Woman, I had virtually no idea what it was about. And I looked at the synopsis that after I watched it, I looked up the synopsis of the movie and everything. And everywhere I could find, the synopsis is like intentionally vague. They don't say exactly what the issue they're touching upon in the movie is. And I thought that was a really interesting choice because it is a very relevant issue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think they're more pushing the fact that it's like a genre bending movie. It's very like I couldn't put it in a category. Like usually when I watch movies, I try to put them in a cat. Is this a drama? Is this a comedy? Is this a thriller? Is this a blah blah blah? But it's very genre bending. So I thought it was very interesting and very good.
Maybe they were trying to avoid like the idea that it was like because most movies with that premise and that script, you would think on paper, oh, it's a man hating movie, and that's what it is. Versus like,
Mm,
what it actually ended up being, because it seems like, at least from the reviews I've read, that's not the case at all. Like, Promising Young Woman is like an action is very honest, and it's just a reflection of what's happening. But it is not a movie dedicated to just bashing men and uplifting women, and that's the whole purpose. Um, so I'm willing to give it a shot.
yeah.
But all right, so that's Best Picture.
Best Picture.
Moving on, we're gonna do. You guys want to do actor in a leading role?
Yep.
Ladies first. Let's do actress. Oh, okay.
Oh, you want to?
Listen.
No, we can do actresses.
Let's do
Let's
actors
do
in a leading
actors.
role. We could do it. Actors in a leading role. The nominees are Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and lastly, but not least, Carrie Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. And I'll start with you, Alex. Who do you think?
Well, you already know my thoughts on No Man Land. I think. Well,
Or who do you want? Who do
who
you
do I
want
want
to?
to win would definitely be Viola Davis. Mainly because I've only gotten to see bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched the full movie, but she plays a very strong role. I love her in the show she's has been in, like Get Away with Murder. She has a very strong stance, and she has such a powerful voice when she speaks. And that is one of the things I love that she is able to bring into this movie. She just speaks with so much confidence, and the movie's also about uh uh sorry, a blues singer that not a lot of people know either. So it's just like nice to see the way she's presenting her. Um, she's not some like small artist. She's a small artist, but she's not presented that way. She's big on her own. She's the jazz singer back in the 1927, and it's just the way she portrays it is so good too. And Andrea Day, I saw The United States versus Billie Holiday. That is a really good film. That should have been one of the films that was definitely should have been nominated for Best Picture. But I can see why not, because it was a little bit of a smaller like advertising area or like presentation. Um, but that movie I felt was like really strong, and it really showed the deep seated racism that's always been with like black musicians and black singers, and then the added sexism that she had to deal with as well. Was just presented gorgeously, and she's also just a very gorgeous actress as well. When she's in this role, she it just fits her so well. I think she really portrays Billie Holiday like so well, and it just comes off like this is Billie Holiday. I think that's a great way Billie Holiday would have wanted herself represented. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've heard so much praise about Andre Day. I mean, she won the Golden Globe, which a lot of people were, I know, surprised about. In this category, I've also only seen two of the films, although I've been meaning to watch The United States versus Billie Holiday. Hello, I have Hulu,
Yeah.
so I could watch it at any time I want. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of when.
The scenes that'll hit you the most are the like scenes where it's just her and she's on stage. That is so powerful. Like I like Viola Davis, and I think she would be a great runner up maybe for this award. Um, but like Andrea Day really like channels Billie Holiday when she's on that scene. It just
Andra Day looks a lot. Oh,
she
I'm
has that
sorry,
energy.
Alex.
No, you're good. You're good.
Andra Day looks a lot like what's her name? Veronica Williams, I think is her name. Let me see. Hold on. I'm pretty sure
I know,
that's
I do know this was her very first acting role, Andre Day's very first acting role.
Really?
Which is yes, which is very crazy because she has the song "And I'll
Oh, that's
rise up."
right.
Yeah, that song.
Vanessa
Um,
Williams. That's what I was thinking of. I'm sorry. She looks a
oh,
lot like
Vanessa
Vanessa Williams to me. She has like
Vanessa
some of the
Williams.
she has similar like
Vanessa
facial
Williams
features.
isn't Vanessa Williams like 30 years older than her?
She is, but I'm saying like she looks like a young like a or no, I mean her lips are a little more full. Never mind.
Like a young Vanessa Williams.
She looks like a younger Vanessa Williams, but she has
No
a bit
shade to
more like
Vanessa Williams because I love Vanessa Williams too.
no, Vanessa Williams is beautiful. I
My
just
favorite role she was ever in was just Ugly Betty. She played that role so well.
She
Like,
always plays the boss like lady role well. She was in that movie Bad Hair and she played like a boss like no nonsense role.
I never saw that, but she does have that like appearance where like you could, like she has the straightest spine you'll ever see, and she just carries herself with the most confidence. It's like, where do you even get confidence like that? How do I achieve that level? Um,
Jonathan, do you have any predictions on who you want to win versus who who
So
you think
who
could
I
win?
want to win would absolutely, I'd have to agree with Alex. It would be Viola Davis. She was amazing in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. The school I'm with, they like gave us an exclusive interview with Oprah and Viola Davis, and the amount of just like knowledge she had to spew was uh, great. And she actually, when she's interviewing, you know how sometimes when you see actors in interviews, sometimes they're just like, oh yes, for this role, I really tried to embody, the soul of the character, and it was just, it was just amazing. I really
so you're saying they
feel like I
sound
embodied. No,
they're high?
kind of. It's like they
I'm about to
sometimes
say,
in
why
a
are you
way
doing a
they
Jared Leto impression? Like, what's that about?
No, no, Jared Leto's like no. I'm thinking about Leno.
Jared Leto, yeah. Sometimes they take themselves and it too seriously. I mean, it's good to take your work seriously, but sometimes there's a point where it's just like you have to bring your human aspect to it. And I feel like Viola Davis does that because she's so relatable in those types of interviews. When she's not working, you actually see her as a real person. You don't see her as an actor. And that's what I really appreciate about her. And she was just amazing in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom because she brought that realness to it. She brought that sense of humanness to the character, to the role, to the real person because it's based on a real person. And I appreciate that.
I as mm, I would like to see Viola take it At the same time, I would also like to see Carrie Mulligan take it too for Promising Young Woman. Only because I feel like Viola Davis, while she does an amazing job as Ma Rainey, it's not for me. It wasn't like Fences, where Fences, like you see like a broken woman who is like been through it. Versus Ma Rainey, I feel like that's more in Viola Davis's wheelhouse of playing these empowered black women who like really take charge and just own the room. Heck, that's half of why they hired her to be Amanda Waller for Suicide Squad, because that's Amanda Waller's character in the comics. So I feel
And
like,
she's going to be Michelle Obama
yeah.
in a
So
series, in a limited series coming soon.
so it's like Viola Davis. That's her bread and butter, versus Carrie Mulligan. Uh, is a very unique role for her. Most of the time, she plays like the girlfriend or kind of like the mom. So to play a character that's a little
Well, she
where she
was
gets to
kind of the
kind of be
girlfriend in Promising Young Woman as well.
kind of
But it
like
was it
granted
was it
again,
was
Not
turned
I
on its
haven't
completely.
head.
seen,
Yeah.
mind you, this information is based off of the trailer. I haven't actually seen the movie,
Oh, okay.
but based off the trailer, it looks like she's like playing an interestingly different character for her. Someone who's like who can be, yes, your leading actress, so she's sweet and like you understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, like she can also be very vindictive and like a threat in the room and really take charge in a way that Carrie Mulligan normally doesn't get to do, at least from the roles I've seen her in. So I would like to see her also, like between the two of them, either or, like whether one of them takes it or not. I would like to see one of the two of them take go home with the Oscar.
I could definitely see Carrie Mulligan doing it because you're right. It is a role she hasn't really played before. This was something new, and she did it so well.
Mm-hmm.
And like the buzz about the movie in general has just been really powerful in a negative and positive way too. And I could totally see her just winning just because it is such a yeah, you're right. It is a very new role for her where Viola Davis is just it's a kind of the same role where she's just it's a powerful movie, don't get me wrong, but she's just in general has that energy to her.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
What about
Yeah.
you? What do you think's gonna win, Jonathan? Did you say what do you think's gonna win?
I said who I want to win. I want Viola Davis to win, and I think it's honestly between. Well, it's a three-way tie because this is the most like up in the air category
Mm-hmm.
because all of them have won awards in the past. You know how like if someone's sweeping, the BAFTAs and the Golden Globes and the Screen Actors Awards, then that's a pretty big indication that they're going to win the Oscar. But all of these women have won different awards, so we really don't know who's going to win. If I had to close my eyes and point at one of them, I would say Viola Davis. I'll just put that out there, Viola Davis. It's probably going to be Frances McDormand, but I'll say Viola Davis.
I'm gonna be the only one who I don't see in the ring is Vanessa Kirby. And no shade to Vanessa Kirby. I'm sure she does a great
Yeah,
job in Pieces of a Woman. It's just compared to the others,
they're
I don't
such
see
heavy
her.
hitters.
I don't see
Yeah.
her winning.
Me
But
neither.
she might.
She was the
Yeah.
only one I ruled out, really.
Yeah, I didn't honestly look at her name too much. And even the pieces of a woman, I've heard of it and I kind of read a review on it and it's just
You're like, man, I don't really
I
want to watch
think
it.
I think it's a very it's a movie about grief. But it's a movie very solely I think more so a mother would connect to or somebody who has children or cares more for children in their life. Um as a broad like anybody can relate to or something, it's not that
Mm.
from what I've read. So I think it's a little yeah. The movie in general was kind of like this is a specific movie for a specific like focus. I think the only reason it's really up there is because she does play a very emotional character. Not emotional. The movie's emotional and Oscars like that, very emotional, sad movies. Why
They
is
do.
that? Why do awards like really
It,
sad
it's
films?
it's the trauma porn. They really like
I think it's
traumatic
more
things.
just those are the movies where you can really pull the most out of an actor. Cause it's like I would say, like even just in the few little bit of acting exercises I've done, like the ones where I really had to work and like felt like I was like, okay, now I'm like acting, is the drama stuff. Because comedy is
That
just like you
it's
kind of
true.
get you kind of just having fun. I mean, comedy can be hard, but when you like have to like dig deep into your soul and be like a broken person, that's hard, and that
Okay, it
requires
is. I
like a
will
lot
agree
of
that it is. It
yeah.
is hard to access emotions, especially like sadder ones. But in like drama school and classes and whatever, they will always tell you that comedy is harder than drama because a lot of times people feel like they have to play the comedy, which is really like uh it's really kind of like disheartening that the Oscars doesn't really acknowledge comedy that much because oftentimes people pull out like great performances from comedy films. Look at Maria Bakalova, who's nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Borat, subsequent movie film,
Yeah.
which she was brilliant in that, and I agree with that nomination. But
She probably
yeah,
won't
I wish.
win though,
Yeah.
but she's nominated.
Why you
I
gotta rain on my parade? Okay.
I'm
you
just
never
saying
know.
because you like
Because
Glenn
Glenn
Close
Close,
is in
yeah,
there.
I was like
You
Glenn
got
Close.
Amanda
Amanda,
Seyfried from Mank, and you've got I'm sorry if I
Yu
mispronounced your
John
name.
Yon,
Yu Jung Yoon
Yoon
or
John,
Yoon.
Yoon Yo John Young, I think.
I hope we
Minari.
pronounced your name right.
I apologize. Yeah,
She ain't listening to this podcast,
that's
Jerome.
Maybe she might. You
well
don't know.
for any
But I mean,
listener. We apologize for any names we say wrong because I say a lot of names wrong. I do it in general. I do it to everybody's name. No, but like I get what you're saying because like I feel like people think like dramas a little more like this is somebody who's not an actor. I don't act. I am very terrible at it. But there's always like a core piece in you can reach for the drama. Your puppy dying or thinking about your mom dead. There's always some way you can reach that core in you. With comedy is so specific and there's so many categories. Um like as we were just talking about with the Jackass character, those guys great in what they did with their well I wouldn't say great, but they were definitely in their lane of like this is the style we are, this is who we are, this is what we're building our business off of course they all had their own side careers, with like Bam he was like a skateboarder and all this stuff, but like going into other roles they didn't fit in other pieces of comedy, and there's so many different levels of variation of comedy, like Norm Macdonald has such dry humor. He's definitely not going to fit in the Jackass crew. In fact, I'm pretty sure if they ever tried to play a prank on Norm Macdonald, he would try to kill them.
Well, that's because Jackass is just pranks,
Right, but that's
more
a
or less.
category of like humor, as well as like Adam Sandler's humors are either really lowbrow or he gets into drama humors. They are kind of. I mean, like, That's My Boy
No,
was
I didn't say you were
gross.
wrong. I just
I know.
laughed.
I was like, so like, but if he tries to go into more like enriching humor, it's like, dude, you don't really have that like connection in there. You're a great producer, but in your acting range, I think with comedy, it's so much harder to dip into certain comedy categories. So I
Well, it
can see the more
depends.
complexity
like
of
if
it.
like if say John Mulaney and Kevin Hart did a movie together, I don't know if that would work.
Well, it can work. The problem with comedy is that or at least comedy movies, is that it relies on two things. It relies on the actor, like, being like really good at doing comedy. And then it also relies on the writer writing things that are actually funny. some movies can get away with letting the comedian do what they do. Because, like, for example, if you have Robin Williams, you know, when he was alive, like when he was on set, he would just go. But Robin Williams was a really funny guy. Like, he knew what was funny, so he could make it work. Versus like Kevin Hart, who is funny, you know, he does his stand-up thing. But when it comes to the movies, Kevin Hart has never been as funny as he is in his stand-up
because he's
he,
not loud in his movies the way he is.
right,
In
he doesn't know what
stand-up.
to do. And when they allow him to improv, he kind of just defaults into making weird noises, as opposed to the writer not giving him
Making weird
anything
noises.
funny to say. So therefore, nothing's funny. Not really.
Right. So that's why I was saying it's harder for actors to dip into certain comedy roles. As whereas like in drama, in like really emotional films, look, there's always some way you can hit that core sadness in you. Everybody has a core sadness. You're gonna have a great life, but you could be chemically imbalanced and be, depressed. That's a core sadness. Or, again, you saw a Sarah McLachlan video with the puppies. Who's not gonna cry with those
In the
puppies?
arms
I
of
don't.
an
Yeah.
angel,
Well, you're
Because it's
bastard.
manipulative and lies.
But you see what I'm
in
saying
the
though with drama
arms of
movies,
the angel.
and like, calm down, Jonathan.
I-
I will don't make me bring out Cheddar because I'm sad now. Cheddar, where are you? I don't know where he's right behind me. He's hiding now.
I would say,
That's
I
why I
would
was
argue
like,
though
and
that
then
drama's the same way. It's because how many movies have there been of dramas with actors where you're like, I don't believe them. They're trying to be sad. They are trying their best to be sad, but it's
But
different than just being
how many
sad
movies
and being really good at being
also
like
how many
looking.
movies have you watched? Also, how many movies have you watched where you're like, I didn't laugh once. That wasn't funny. Or how
I'm
many
not
TV
saying
shows
that
were
one is like both aren't
I'm
hard in their
saying
own ways. It just
right.
depends on the person. Like
But
for Jonathan, I would say you're very good at drama. You have it down. you're really,
I would say
but you're also decent at comedy. I've seen you do comedy too, and you're good at it. Versus me,
what have I done? Have I done comedy?
well, in
you
the sense that
Oh,
if there's a comedic
you-
moment, you
yeah.
can capitalize and you're good at timing.
yeah.
Dude.
Versus like me, I am
Oh yeah, I guess the
terrible at
last play I
drama.
was in.
I am not good at drama at all. But if you give me a comedy story to do, got it. Because I've studied, like that's what I've focused on.
But then also comedy is also more versatile. You can get like a broader sense. You may not find it funny, but you can understand why it's funny. Like with I do that. Like I won't laugh at something and they're like, "Oh, did you not get it?" I'm like, "Oh no, I got it, but wasn't my humor." I can move that on. But like with drama movies, they're also really specific. Like with The Father. It's a very touching film about a person who has dementia and his daughter trying to like figure out how to live her life while he's like refusing to leave his home. And I read the description, she wants to move on. And like that is sad. And I'm sad, but I'm not going to cry and it's not hurting me on a personal level. However, like the movie Inside and Out, that got me crying. That movie like played with every emotion. It literally had characters that were emotions. But that's what I'm also saying about drama. They pick these really specific dramatic films that aren't as relatable to a whole crowd, but the synopsis, the music, and everything is just sad. And
Well,
it's not that you're making a personal connection. You're just like, well, I'm sad and now I kind of feel awkward because I'm just watching this movie.
well,
I
it
don't
depends
really
on
want to
the
watch
person.
it.
Because, like for example, I love Moonlight. That was a great film. But I'm not gay, nor have I really been in the experience in the shoes entirely. I mean, I can relate, like I can empathize, but I've never been in the shoes that Tyron is in that film.
Right.
But it still gets me in the heart because I like the film does a great job of showing his life, even though it is very sad. Like
yeah, but you can relate to
break his life down.
The racial issues that were attached to that movie.
There are really a lot of racial issues because every character is black. It's very centric to just the black community. It's more just the main issue of that movie is more just the fact that he's a black man in the ghettos of Florida who's gay. And in the black community, especially in the South,
right,
they don't accept that. Like,
right, and then there's the whole like the toxic
that.
masculinity and not being you know, but you can relate to that in the way as not being part of the community, but being in the way that you're not a toxic male. You don't exhume the toxic masculinity. You're not being like, well, I only drink beer and I only do this and I can't do this because I'm a man. Like, you can relate to that toxic masculinity that I'm sure has been thrown at both of you. Um and you guys fight against it, because if you guys ever exhume that, my ass is out of here, by the way. Okay. And
I
that's why I'm like saying that, because like you guys have presented that you have gone against the unnecessary intense gender roles that are placed on not only black men but on men in general. And then being in the South as well, I do agree with you. In the South and in the Midwest, there are higher intensity of the gender roles that are there, because that's like, you know, the real America, which is nonsense. um so there is a, even if it's a small thing, there's a thing you can attach yourself to that film. And I think with dramas, you have to find a way to attach yourself to really enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Because
there
yeah.
is like for the comedy, you brought up something, Alex, that I was like, oh yeah. In that there are so many aspects, or not aspects, but there are so many variations of comedy. Because even if you think of comedy on TV, Insecure, that's classified as a comedy. And then there's also a show like Two Broke Girls. That's also a comedy as well. And those shows are vastly, vastly, vastly different.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's interesting
Or
as
there was
well.
like the show you appeared in that's on Hulu, Shrew.
Thrill.
Go watch it, see if you can spot Jonathan. My mom did. She texted me right away. She's like, "It's Jonathan." I'm like, what? That you did appear in Jonathan. That is more so, you know, about the single woman trying to just live her life. That's not a comedy relatable to everybody, but a lot of people still can enjoy it. And like going back to Jackass, because I think they're actually a pretty weirdly good representation of what comedy can be. I enjoyed some of their pranks. Some of them I found it funny. Just when they moved to bodily fluid stuff, I was like, that's disgusting.
Mm-mm.
So like their prank videos, I enjoyed up to a certain point, and then I'm like, no, y'all may enjoy that. I don't. Just go hit like I can only think of Bam or
Yeah,
Steve-O.
I remember they used to
Johnny
play on
Knoxville
MTV.
is the
Johnny
one I think
Knoxville.
of.
Johnny Knoxville. I remember on
Go
MTV they used to play episodes like very very late at night, and there was one time I turned the channel and they were like they were pushing out like a blackhead from somebody's face, and it was like this long when it came out, and it was so nasty. Anyway, I like how
I
we've
worry about
divulged
Johnny
so much
Knoxville though.
We have gone
in this
all the way
conversation.
No,
off
no, no.
from the Oscars.
It's a good
It's
topic,
been a
because
good
like
conversation though. It's been a
It's a
this
really
good
good
conversation.
because that's
conversation.
Well,
what I
maybe
think about the
table.
Oscars is like it's all drama and like
Listen,
Right.
intensity, and it's like
We'll you know what? We'll table this conversation, and we might come back to the comedy versus drama. Jerome, did you want to say one last thing?
I was just gonna say, listen to the listeners in there who are like, "When are they gonna talk about the next category?" Listen, all right,
We
we were
warned
prepared to
you.
talk about Mortal Kombat, okay, and then HBO and Warner Brothers had to go and mess that up. So we're so bear with us,
that's
okay?
why it's a
We're
weird episode. We really got
feeling good
no rhythm
vibes
going.
right now.
All right, best
All
actor.
right, best. Let's talk about actor. Best actor.
Let's go to
Best
the
actor. Here we go.
males. As gentlemen,
Uh,
Jonathan, you're more gentleman. I feel like.
Here we go. The nominees for Best Actor in a Leading Role is Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P., for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Stephen Yeun for Minari. I'm going to be honest. I think who I want to win is either Chadwick Boseman. Love to see him win it, especially considering he's no longer with us. So it'd be a great like ending chapter to his acting career if he won for his last role, on-screen role. Um, and then, but also I'd love to see Stephen Yeun take it. He's been having a pretty good year. He's in a new hit show with Invincible. he's doing his career's been interesting because I wasn't sure where he was going to go after Walking Dead, but then seeing him in Sorry to Bother You, now this
I keep
movie,
forgetting that he was in that.
yeah, so
He
it's
was
But
like
he wasn't in
also
that for that. He wasn't in it for that long.
not for that long, but he was in it. Like it was still a paycheck. That's the important
he,
thing.
he
That's
was
true.
he was in a really good movie on Shudder. It's called Mayhem,
Mayhem's
where
good.
it is
Mayhem's really
really good.
good.
He was also in the new Twilight Zone by Jordan Peele. He was in an episode where he
Okay.
was an alien. He looking very good in a suit and a hat from the 1920s going on style.
Interesting. So those are my picks for who I want to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
Alex,
you?
who do you think? Who do you want to win?
I mean, um, I would like Steven Yeun to win just because he has had such an incredible career lately. He's really showcased like the range he has, the acting skills he has. Um, he was kind of the lovable dork on Walking Dead. But like now he's been in like the comedy horror with like Mayhem. He's shown his skills there. He's shown his skills with drama, and then more serious issues like with with this movie currently. And it's just I think it was really great. I would like trying to think how I'm trying to phrase it. Chadwick. I would like to see him win an Oscar, but not for this role. I don't think it was Oscar worthy in this role, honestly. I would have loved to have him win an Oscar for Black Panther, 21 Bridges, maybe, even Messages from the King, where he is, and it's another Netflix movie. It's very good. He's very good in it, very powerful scenes. He's looking for his missing sister in Los Angeles. Even 42 with Jackie Robinson, where he played Jackie Robinson. I think he's had so many more incredible roles that he should have won an Oscar for. But this role, I don't necessarily think he should win it for this particular role. If I get what I'm saying is clear. There we go. English is hard. But Steven Yeun definitely, I think his range has just really been shown lately, and he's just such a great actor, and I have a mild crush on him, so of course I want him to win. What about you, Jonathan? Who do you want to win?
So who I want and who I think will win are the same person. Spoiler alert. I actually want and think Chadwick Boseman will win. I think it will be deserved, but I also think in a way it will also be a sort of legacy award to cap it off, to cap off his career. In second place, even though I haven't seen the movie yet, I've heard great things about Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, and so I think he would be deserving from what I've heard. And that's also the movie that I want to watch next out
That's
of
probably the
the
first
ones
one
that are
I'm gonna
listed on here.
watch. To be quite honest, like
Yeah.
after this is that Sound of Metal is gonna be first, and then probably Minari after that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Same,
because I'm a
probably for me
music
in that
guy.
order as well.
Minari's really good.
I love music, so I would love to see what they do with Sound of Metal.
Mm-hmm.
Minari's just
And
really
I also need to watch Billie Holiday. I need to watch like most of these movies. Who am I
I'm
kidding?
looking at Mank, and I'm not entirely sure what this movie is even about.
It's
It's
about a
about. I heard it's
filmmaker.
about the making. It's about the making of Citizen Kane, apparently.
Yeah. Mhm.
Which Citizen Kane is classified by some as the best movie
It's
Ever
the
ever
best
made.
created.
visually made movie. The writing and the actual plot is. Um, I think you're right with the Chadwick winning. Possibly, it might just be like
I think he'll
that's
just
so
win just
sad.
because he's passed away and he was such an icon that they'll just not to say that he's getting the award just as like a throwaway because they're just like we're just gonna give it to you. No, because I like his performance in
No,
all movies, Black
like I
Bottom,
said,
but
where
you
he
know,
deserved the Oscar in so many other roles. This role particularly, I don't think would have been a winner if he was still like around. But considering that he will not be able to show the range he has and present himself the way these actors will and have, I think this might be like a nice way to be like, this is what you should have gotten so many times before.
I liked his performance just based off of like watching clips from the play itself. I feel like he gave that same energy that a lot of the actors in the play do and delivers it's weird hearing play dialogue in a movie
I did
because
not
it's
know it
like
was a play, but that does explain the dialogue.
because the dialogue is like weird, like it moves super fast and it's just like back and forth. But on the stage that works because that's kind of how plays are structured. Versus like in film, normally there's a lot of pauses and you take a minute. And it's trying to mimic reality.
A lot of
So
monologues.
yeah, so that's just weird.
Malcolm,
But I
like we
mean,
were talking about,
nonetheless,
Malcolm and Marie should have been a play. No.
That's why Malcolm and Marie should have been a play. It's a lot of back and forth in that in that dialogue too. I think that would have worked as on the stage. I'm surprised this was not Malcolm and Marie was not nominated on here for cinematography. I was expecting it to be
Yeah,
nominated.
Malcolm and Marie got nothing. I think it was because when I first saw that Malcolm and Marie was coming out, and on
There
this
was Oscar
podcast, if you
buzz.
look back, yeah, there was so much Oscar buzz. There was Oscar buzz for Zendaya, there was Oscar buzz for like
I
cinematography.
but then like when we reevaluate the film, we're like, it's not that great. This is just a bad
I mean, that's our
relationship.
opinion,
Well, you guys
though.
said it wasn't that great.
Jonathan
I gave it
was
an A.
in it. He was in it. He was
Ever
ready.
since then, my perspective has changed. I still enjoyed the movie. I might not give it an A if I was asked now, but
Also,
yeah,
why are
that
you
that
coming home to like eat after winning an award? Like, wouldn't you want to go out for like drinks and dinner?
No, are you kidding? I go out and I go come home and eat for sure
Why? Would you
because
want to
it's
you're
like
probably
celebrate?
a
tired.
victory meal. You know, like you
You're
feel
all
drained,
like
but
Well, it
high
wasn't an
from the
award. It
award.
was well, it was his premiere.
oh right,
So
it
that
was
day
his
he was
premiere.
probably like
Yeah.
working all. He was probably up since like 4 a.m. like prepping and stuff.
All right, sure.
All right. So you want
Anyway,
to do actor and supporting role real quick? We're gonna make these a little fast because we're already at an hour. So
yeah, let's do it quick, and then we'll do our little thing at the very end.
okay. So actor in a supporting role. Nominees are Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul
Racy, I think.
Racy for Sound of
Racy.
Metal,
Like if you sent a racy picture.
and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah. Uh, I'm gonna just go first just to speed it up real quick. I honestly think who's gonna take this is gonna be probably Daniel Kaluuya. I feel like Lakeith Stanfield, while he does play a character, he's still kind of doing his normal Lakeith Stanfield thing. Versus Daniel Kaluuya is like becoming a different person, and he's like the show stealer for a lot of the movie because
Yeah.
he's playing like Fred Hampton so well. So I think he's gonna win it. And honestly, I want him to win it. I want Daniel Kaluuya to win it. So that's my picks for those two.
I
There.
agree. And I'm picking all the black people. I feel like that Issa Rae gif. I'm rooting for everybody black. So
Well, they've
I
been doing good. All the black people in this on
they
this
have
case have
Way
done
to
well.
be biased, guys.
they have and
Not with you
but
about Daniel
also I'm changing.
Kaluuya.
Also, I'm changing my actress in a leading role. I think Frances McDormand is going to win, but I think Daniel Kaluuya is going to win, and I want him to win as well. He
I
did great
actually
in
agree
that.
with you
In that film.
guys on that. Yeah, no, he was a scene stealer.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say it's funny that Sacha Baron Cohen is nominated for The Trial of the Chicago 7, not Borat.
I thought it like
Yeah,
I remember that but he kind of looks like just a younger version of Borat himself in the film. Cause like
Little, because he got the curly
he's got the
hair.
curl, but it's bigger.
Yeah.
It just all it is. It's just bigger. So it's like you look like the son of Borat in your own way, and it's really weird.
Funny enough, you know he wanted to. He was the one who was starting the organization of doing like the pre-production for Bohemian Rhapsody, and he was going to play Freddie Mercury. which
Really?
I didn't buy until I saw side-by-side pictures of the two of them, like what the makeup was going to look like. He looks exactly like Freddie. It's kind of scary. Like he looks a lot like Freddie
Now that I
Mercury.
think about it, I can see it. And he's British.
Yeah. And I was like,
He
that.
also has like the flamboyancy too.
I think he would have done it. I think he would have been a good Freddie Mercury.
I think it would have come down to his movements though.
Probably.
Was he as loose as Freddie Mercury? Because Freddie Mercury like allowed the movements of his body and like the swing of his hips and everything.
Well, Rami Malek won the Oscar for that role.
He did. He deserved it.
Also, quick shout out before we get into our last segment. Quick shout out to One Night in Miami. First of all, Leslie Odom Jr. is amazing. And although he won't win, still glad that he got nominated. And also, it is my pick for best writing for original screenplay. Just because I love, or adapted screenplay.
Or adapted screenplay. I was about to say.
I love One Night in Miami. I think it's a fantastic film. And if those are the two things, I think they're the only two things they've been nominated. That movie's been nominated for. So I hope it wins for best adapted screenplay.
About the leading, the actress supporting role?
I was about to say. Do we want to do that real quick? Let's get into actress. Yeah.
I wasn't sure because I know we were talking about maybe skipping it, but I'm glad we're doing this real quick.
People know that we are not to expect our episodes to be less than an hour at this point.
Look, they can skip. Sometimes even I skip parts of our episode.
I do too. But all right, actress in a supporting role. The nominees are Maria Bakalova for Borat 2, because I'm not saying that whole title.
Just say Borat 2. Yeah, you're good.
You're supposed to say Borat subsequent movie film.
No. Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. Olivia Colman for The Father. Amanda Seyfried for Mank. And the name we butchered.
Yon. That I know it's Yon.
Thank you.
Because I work with a nice young lady. Her last name is Yon too.
I think while I want Yu Jung to win for Minari, I know it'll probably go to either Amanda Seyfried or Glenn Close.
I don't know. Apparently, like I said, the movie The Father sounds really, really heartbreaking. And I think that she might have a better chance of winning. The sadder the movie, the better chance you are winning. That's why I think a lot of these like actors will try to go for a really, really, really emotional role. Like I can get an Oscar, I can get in there some way.
Well, I mean, listen, Halle Berry's played in a bunch of great roles. You know the role she won the Oscar for? Monster Ball. Where she's like has a sex scene with Billy Bob Thornton and basically is like,
hey, she earned that. She earned the
emotional.
Oscar. And she earned
that role was
that's how she got it. Yeah.
She had to dig deep to play that role.
Poor Halle Berry. What about you, Jonathan? What actress do you think?
Who I want to win is absolutely Maria Bakalova. One, because it's the only movie I saw from this category, and two, because...
I've seen none of the movies in this category. I'm just going based off of trailers and like hearsay.
Same.
And two, because she, one, is super talented. Like I was saying at the beginning, I love the story of, someone who is new to the game and this is their first time being nominated, and I would love that story of her winning, just like Andra Day. If she were to win, that would be such an amazing story because it means so much for their career.
I get a story all the time from the Grammys. Like Megan Thee Stallion won Best New Artist this year, and so it's like every year when they get another Best New Artist, I'm just like, or she didn't win, but yeah, she won Best New Artist this year. Last year it was Phoebe Bridger. Like it's always, that's where I'm like, hey, you're new in the industry, you finally made it up, and you got a Grammy. Maybe it wasn't.
Although sometimes there's papers written about it, how sometimes that could be a curse with either the Oscars or the Grammys. How if you get those big awards, then like for some reason you go into obscurity after that. Like there's the whole this was for different reasons, but after Monique won the Oscar, that whole story about how she has been like blackballed from Hollywood, basically, essentially.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's countless other stories from the Grammys, I think,
I mean,
about people
heck,
winning the
Chance
big
the
awards.
Rapper. I mean, he hasn't been outed or anything, but like Chance the Rapper won Best New Artist, and then immediately the next album was trash. Um, no shade to
I mean,
Chance. Like, I'm sorry, Chance. I still am a fan.
you
I'm
know
looking
what?
forward to your next
That
project, but I have to be honest with you, brother.
that
That wasn't it.
kind of reminds me. I love the show 30 Rock. Or I used to. Now I kind of watch it. I'm like, oh, it's got its moments. When Tracy Morgan in the show was trying to EGOT, get a Emmy, Golden Globe, Oscar, and all that, he got an Oscar nomination, and he's like, now I'm an Oscar nominee. He's like, I cannot do these type of comedies anymore. These are below me. I will not get in that outfit and dance around. So it's like I can kind of see that where it might be also like partly the actors being like, well, I'm an Oscar award winner now. uh you're you're still working, whether you're an Oscar award winning or not. You're still looking for a job like the rest of all the other actors. And then it also might be that like the bad work they have worked with other actors who have won those high awards and been like, look, they're notoriously difficult after winning that award. She just won it, and this is like she's young and she's only been in a couple films. This might go to her head. We don't really want to deal with that on this set. Like
I think it
sometimes the
depends on
name thing.
the person. I mean, at the end of the day, they got like actors, like at least my opinion on it, as I one day want to do more voice acting than action, live action. But nonetheless, is that much like Michael Caine said, sometimes you want to do art and sometimes you just need a paycheck. Like, that's the name of the game.
That's why sometimes you see these high profile people in these, or people who have won like a lot of awards, and then you see them in like the Counting of the Cats too, and you're like, what? This
I
seems a
mean,
little.
you wonder why you see Sam Jackson in everything. That man is making bank, all right?
That man doesn't just want to stay home.
He's like,
I
look,
think he's like, look, I became an actor to act. I'm not gonna wait around for like that big role. He's like, no, I'm gonna go do the second Hitman movie, Hitman's Bodyguard, with Ryan Reynolds.
but see, Sam
Like
Jackson's weird because he could do like really good dramas and stuff that is Oscar level, but then he knows who
he
he
does.
is. So he knows he's like he can ham it up for like a movie like Hitman's Bodyguard 2
No,
and still great
it's Hitman's wife's bodyguard.
Bodyguard. That's true. But
Why?
it's like he could do those movies and he can do a Black Snake Moan, both of which are like in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Very different though. Yeah,
Very
Alright.
versatile.
sides of the spectrum.
No,
Alex,
But
who do
what?
you
oh, I
want
was just gonna
to?
say real quick. I was just gonna say real quick. Maria Bakalova, she seems very sweet. I've seen an interview with her. She seems like very grateful for the opportunity. Um, but I think Glenn Close might win. But I heard Hillbilly Elegy the movie's trash, but she was like a
That's what
standout
I've
with
heard
it.
too, but I think Glenn Close will still win anyway.
Right.
I think Olivia Colman will win, like I said, with the drama and the crying, and then she's also a very well-known actress. Um,
Mhm.
well, yeah, maybe not like Glenn Close, but Olivia Colman does have the titles behind her. Um, Amanda Seyfried, I like her in Mamma Mia. I haven't seen her too much in.
Mamma Mia is the movie you picked for Amanda
I
Seyfried.
love Mamma Mia. Screw you. Um, her big eyes kind of freak me out from time to time.
She does have big eyes.
They're huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like they freak
But
me
that's
out
like half of
sometimes.
her look. That's what makes her like unique. I think in a
But
way.
it still freaks me out. No, I get what you're saying, and it kind of gives it like a that animate. I'm a cartoon drawing look to your face when you have big eyes. It still just freaks me out a little bit when people have giant eyes, because then I think about them as children, and like your eyes are the only body part of yours that do not grow. You're born with the same size eyes. So how big were her eyes on her head when she was an infant? I feel like that child's
Anyway,
gonna stare into my soul.
I'll navigate from this
Well, I will
discussion
say,
Wait, this
into
as
is
we
our
talk
so.
last.
This
about it,
is exactly why we need Jonathan around, though.
Jonathan, because you said Rami Malek won for Bohemian Rhapsody. Glenn Close might win for Hellbilly Elegy for the same reason, where it's like the movie's okay at best, but
Mhm.
you know what? This person did like a major transformation, so we'll give them the Oscar anyway.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Sometimes the movie is not the best, but the performance is.
Maybe.
Okay, so for our final segment, we're gonna play a little bit of a game, kind of.
You want to play a
So I
game?
have and no Googling anyone. I have the nominees for international feature film, and I'll pick one randomly. We're all gonna say what we think that movie is about, our 2 to 3 sentence synopsis of the movie.
Ooh.
And then we're gonna read the synopsis to see who was the closest to it or who was the furthest away. So, international feature film, we have Another Round, Better Days Collective, The Man Who Sold His Skin, and I don't know how to say that because it's another
Guavaras
language.
Ada
There you go.
or Aida.
And
Aida. Whatever.
The Man Who Sold His Skin sounds the most interesting to me.
I was about to say that's
it's
like the
piquing
only
my
one you
interest.
should pick if you're gonna pick one at random.
I'm thinking about like Another Round.
Okay, what do you think Another Round is about?
I think Another Round is more about the dark side of Denmark, because Denmark is presented as a very happy. It's one of the top happiest countries in the world. They got, socialized healthcare, good jobs, all this stuff with it. But then also they do have a heavy drinking over there. And their drinking laws start off very young, and also they're encased in darkness a lot of the times out of the year too. So like I think it kind of shows maybe the darker side, and why, you want to buy another round in Denmark, where it kind of shows like it's maybe not the happiest place that we've presented, just
in
because
the
it's got the
documentary, though. So what specifically is the plot of this movie?
drinking.
That's not a plot. That's a feature. That's a feature of the movie.
Jerome, how long have you known me? For me, that's a
an
plot.
aspect.
The plot being that it's kind of showing a person who finds solace in drinking with the people they're around, and comfort and in their grim day-to-day life. And another round is just, wanting to have another round with the people you love, the people you care about, the people who bring the joy to your life, when, living in a country that may have darkness most of the time, that can easily affect your vitamin D levels, which can cause depression and a lot of issues. I think it's just the peace we find in others.
Okay.
I think
Jerome, do you want to do your synopsis for that movie, or do you want to pick another one? Let's all pick one. And
I think The Man Who Sold His Skin is probably about like a dude, like not so much a literal, like, although international films
that's
get
what I
pretty
was.
dark.
That's what I was thinking. I don't think it's a literal skin.
I don't think it's very little. I think it's a dude who maybe is like a model or something, and like.
Oh, my mind went to prostitution.
Or I mean, that's probably darker than I was intending, but yeah, like a guy who's like someone who's in the public eye, and they've sold every part of themselves as a performer, and now they're on the outs. Like that was like their past, and now they're at a point where they feel like they don't even recognize themselves anymore, and they're given another chance to kind of be themselves for the first time. Like they meet like maybe another person who's coming into the industry or something like that, and it's making them reflect on why they were interested in being that public figure in the first place. And now they're like, you know what, I'm a mentor this young person on the come up.
Okay. I was with The Man Who Sold His Skin. Quick note: I was thinking maybe like clothes or something. Like he sold clothes. I don't know where I was going with that though, but
like he took his skin and sold the clothes.
Maybe
That's
I don't
darker.
know.
You want to wear
but
me?
I'm looking at
Silence of the Lambs going on there with Jonathan. Pick a movie, Jonathan.
I'm looking at Better Days from Hong Kong. I'm thinking it sounds like it would be family oriented. Better Days, so maybe it's a single mom, and they are running low on. I like how all of ours are so depressing, but
again, it's the Oscars.
Right, that's true. And she's just
Plus,
like
international
she has
films be depressing sometimes.
right, and she has 2 kids, and she is just trying to to make ends meet, and someone comes along that helps her with that, who helps her with that, and and better days come along.
All right, so
You do
I'm
have to
right
be
now.
careful. Wait, really quick. With Hong Kong movies, with Japanese films, I have found the titles are often never a good, or at least I don't know. It might mean something else in their culture or how it goes. But when translated to English, it usually really has nothing to do with the movie. That's why I'm like, maybe I kind of agree with you, and that actually does sound like a good plot because I know in a lot of Asian cultures as well as Latin cultures, it's very frowned upon to be a single mother. You're often like kind of forced to like you need to marry for your children. You may be working or having anything, but you like need a man around the house. So that's why I'm like that could actually be it too. Like maybe she's just like surviving with her children. She doesn't need more. She just needs her kids, and she can have better days just with them, not with anybody else. But like, yeah, I've found with a lot of Asian films when translated into English, never the title never actually matches what you think the movie will be, and you're always like, oh, that wasn't what I was expecting at all.
Anyway, I was gonna say
Are you?
I've googled all the titles so that I could like so we could see what the synopsis is. First of all, another round made in Denmark and is about it has Mads
What
Mikkelsen in
is
it on the
who?
cover. Mads Mikkelsen, the actor. So
Uh,
that's already pretty
Is
cool.
he
The
Swedish?
synopsis, if I can, yeah, it says four high school teachers consume alcohol on a daily basis to see how it affects their social and professional lives.
wow. So you were on brand
You were
I
with
pretty
mean,
the
it was
close,
about
alcohol.
yeah, it
I
was
mean,
about getting.
with the title "Another Round," you assume you
I
instantly think drinking too.
yeah, well, like I assumed it was more about celebration and enjoyment. This seems almost like they're
Well,
experimenting.
it could have been about bowling. You never know. It could have
That's
been
true
about
too.
It
bowling.
could have been
I know
Denmark
nothing of
bowling.
the Denmark culture. They could have bowling there. They could have something similar to bowling, or they could, have whatever sport where they're like another round. Let's play another round.
But that's an interesting concept. They intentionally like
Like,
consume a lot of alcohol. That's interesting.
Better days.
Okay, the man who sold his skin. What is
Oh
that?
yeah, go ahead. Oh, the man who sold his skin is about a Syrian refugee in Lebanon allows his back to become a canvas for a famous tattoo artist. Soon, collectors become interested in this work of art.
Interesting.
That is very.
So he is kind of a
I think I'm gonna
model.
watch that now, and it's got Monica Bellucci in it, and I like Monica
that is
Bellucci.
interesting. So he becomes a living work of
A
art,
canvas, yeah.
but
Mhm.
then
I'm gonna watch that.
that like
That sounds
brings in the
cool. It's on
question of
Amazon Prime for $4.99. I'm gonna watch that.
that brings the question of like his. No, that is actually really like an interesting
Sounds
concept.
interesting, yeah. Better days,
Uh,
I was way
But
off.
you're
I'm looking
wrong.
at the
You were wrong, Jerome. I did. What was Better Days? Somebody read that to me.
Better Days is a bullied high school student and a small time criminal become the prime suspects in the murder of a teenage girl who turns out to be the student's nemesis for the state Gaokao exam. I think is how you pronounce that.
that sounds really interesting too. It was not what I was expecting, but that sounds really interesting. It's a romantic crime film.
Oh,
Interesting.
like the main character, the reason she becomes a target is because her friend committed suicide too from the school bully, and the girl turns on her, like focuses on her. Oh wow, this
Interesting.
film.
So it's no wonder why these films
I
are nominated for Oscars.
felt like this film was way darker than what you presented.
Way dark,
Much
Yeah,
a
darker.
lot less inspirational.
Mine
and
was like
you're we all had
was
dark
slightly
theories about
off.
yours though, but like all our theories were kind of dark in a way, but it's a different level of dark
Right.
that we hadn't thought about because he willingly made himself into art,
Hmm.
but like he kind of sold his humanity
Well,
now.
we don't know if
Like,
it's done in like a way where he's depressed and he's like, I guess you can tattoo on my body. He might be excited about it. He's like, yeah, absolutely. You're awesome. Draw on my back. Put the tattoos on me right now.
yeah, but now he's being sold as art.
No, it says people are interested in the canvas. It does not say he's being sold. It just means they're just saying that they're
It's the
interested
man
in
who
looking
sold
at
his
it.
skin, so he's gonna like. People
Okay, but that doesn't mean that he literally is selling his skin. That's just the
You
title of the
don't know
movie.
that.
Neither do you. You haven't
Either
seen
way,
the
he's
film.
making money off of this, right? He's making.
That's true.
Yeah,
He's making
Or
money.
is he?
For all we know, he could be traveling to places, setting up a stool, and just sitting there while people look at his bag.
That's still awkward and like uncomfortable with that.
But not like he's getting his back skin cut off and then sold around the world.
Well, honestly, there are crazy enough rich people that will probably request it.
All right, where can people find you at? What? Let's. I'm just
Do
gonna cut this
people want to
conversation.
find us? Do people want to find us now?
This has been the most like up and down podcast.
For real,
ever.
we got
It
really
was like-
deep, then we got really weird, then we
We
got
were
really
all like super
serious.
calm at the beginning, being like,
You know whose fault
yeah,
this
best
is?
picture.
This is your fault, Warner Brothers. You should have just let Mortal Kombat come out on Friday, April 16th, like you said you was going to. And
Yeah,
then
we started
wouldn't have
off
had
like
the
all
weird
calm
podcast.
and weird and being like, this is what we think of the actors and things.
Oh yeah, this
presented.
performance was great.
And then we moved on
loved
to
it.
a man selling his skin, and I think he probably ends up either cutting off his back or becoming a piece of art.
Well, Jerome said he's gonna watch it, so he'll
Yeah.
have to.
I mean,
he'll
I'm
have
gonna
to
watch
report.
it. So I'll tell you, maybe I'll do like a review on the YouTube channel. You can follow us on the first ones to die. I'll tell you what I thought about the man who sold his skin.
Good.
All right.
Also, you can find me at, because Jonathan's giving us that look. I can see it in his face. This is why we also need Jonathan. We know how we ramble.
although
a lot
this,
with
I feel like
Rob.
this episode is longer than,
It
than the
probably
Godzilla
is.
one at this point.
At least this one was a little more
It's
on
getting there,
track.
it's
We
getting there.
focused. You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram. I also manage the TikTok account, which is the first one to die. It is also the name of all our social media accounts on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Jonathan, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me at Jonathan Keys, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you please. I didn't mean for that to be a bar, but it was.
Bars.
Jerome, where can people find you at?
You can find me at Not Jerome Rhett on Instagram, also at RoboZoom Media. Find out more about other stuff I'm be working on. Granted, know that that's taken with a grain of salt because I don't have much up there just yet, but we'll get there.
You're designing. And also, sorry, go ahead.
I was also going to say, and you can follow us on all the social medias at the first ones to die. That's on the Twitters, the Facebooks, Instagrams, all that good stuff. And also, if you would like, comment below. Tell us who, or comment below on this YouTube video, but also comment on Twitter and Facebook. You know, reach out to us. Who do you want to win the Oscars? Pick any category. If you want to do all of them, do all of them. If you want to do just a few, like the big ones we talked about here, pick those. Who do you want to win? You know, what movies did you like seeing that have been nominated for the Oscars? Tell us. We're very
No
curious.
shit talking Steven Yeun, because I will find you.
You heard it here first. And on that note, we'll see you all next week. Hopefully our predictions are not incredibly and embarrassingly wrong, but
I hope
who
they are.
knows? Who knows at this point? Our predictions for what the plots of the international feature films were certainly wrong. So that's any indication, then you know.
We'll
what's gonna
see you
happen.
next week for
I
Falcon
wasn't
and
that
Winter
far off.
Soldier.
Yes.
Yay. And we'll have a special guest too.
Yes. So exciting. All right.
We won't tell you his name just yet. But
Not yet.
tune in for that.
All right. We'll see you all next week. And until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.